Back at it today with another video, as in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the top 10 40 home run, 40 stolen base candidates. Real quick, since this is my first video since the season preview series, I just want to thank you guys so much for all the support throughout that series. It got a lot more support than I would have initially expected, so thank you guys so much. But anyways, with that in mind, let's get right into the top 10 40-40 candidates for the 2023 season. Coming in at number 10, I have Jazz Chisholm of the Miami Marlins. It really goes without being said, but Jazz Chisholm is extremely talented. The only thing that seems to be holding him back at this point is his health. Last year he was limited due to numerous injuries as he only played in 60 games, but in those 60 games he did have 14 home runs and 12 stolen bases. And back in 2021, in 124 games, he had an even better season as he posted 18 home runs with 23 stolen bases. Chisholm is heading into his age 25 season, so while the injuries have been detrimental up to this point, it's not like he's getting up there in age or anything. He is still a young player with lots of speed and lots of pop. Now, even if Chisholm is healthy, I'm not necessarily banking on him putting up a 40-40 season, but I do think he is one of the few players in the league today who can potentially come close to it. Moving on, at number 9, I have Shohei Ohtani of the Los Angeles Angels. Ohtani is already, as it is, the best player in baseball, but even if he was just a hitter, he would still be one of the league's best. Last year he put up some really good offensive numbers, but back in 2021 was really where he took off, as in 155 games he had 46 home runs and 26 stolen bases. Ohtani is ridiculously talented, but I do think there is one thing holding him back from being higher up on this list. I think the Angels are going to be very cautious with him, and that's for good reason. You don't want a player of Ohtani's caliber getting hurt, but I just don't think the Angels are necessarily going to let him steal enough to get close to 40 stolen bases. So I don't think Ohtani will have the green light like many of the other players on this list today, but he's just so talented. I still had to include him on the list. He would probably be top 5 if he was allowed to run whenever he wanted, but I have him coming in at number 9. At number 8, I have Trey Turner of the Philadelphia Phillies. Turner is all around one of the most lethal offensive players in the game, and it's been that way for a couple of years. Last year with the Dodgers, he put up some good numbers, as in 160 games, he had 21 home runs and 27 stolen bases. And back in 2021 with the Nationals, he did put up 28 home runs and 32 stolen bases. Now in June of this year, Turner will be turning 30, but I don't necessarily think he's going to slow down on the base paths. In fact, I think he can still pretty easily steal over 40 bases. It's just the home run aspect of it. I'm just not too sure if Turner can hit 40 home runs. But even if he doesn't hit 40 home runs, he can come pretty close to it, and all in all, I think he's one of the best 40-40 candidates for 2023. At number 7, I have Jose Ramirez of the Cleveland Guardians. Ramirez last year put up some pretty solid home run stolen base numbers, as in 157 games he posted 29 home runs and 20 stolen bases. And he's really been a 5-tool player throughout his career, as back in 2021 he had 36 home runs and 27 stolen bases, and back in 2018 he came close to a 40-40 season where he had 39 home runs and 34 stolen bases. The one thing that does raise some questions about Ramirez is the fact that his stolen base numbers continue to go down and down year by year, and he is 30 years old now, so he's not necessarily going to be running a ton. But with the numbers he's been putting up year in and year out, I had to give him the respect and put him on the list, and I have him coming in at number 7. At number 6, I have Michael Harris of the Atlanta Braves. Harris last year as a rookie put up some pretty crazy numbers, as in only 114 games he had 19 home runs to go along with 20 stolen bases. Going into his second big league season, and with hopefully a full season ahead of him, I would not be surprised at all to see Harris put up 30 home runs and 30 stolen bases and come close to a 40-40 season. If you watch any of my videos, you know that I am huge on Michael Harris. I think he is one of the best outfielders in the game today, and I think he's going to have a huge season. Getting into the top 5, at number 5, I have Kyle Tucker of the Houston Astros. Tucker, at least in my opinion, seems to really fly under the radar because he is surrounded by stars in that Houston lineup. But I think he may be their best offensive player, not named Yordan Alvarez, as last year he put up a really good season, as in 150 games he had 30 home runs and 25 stolen bases. Ever since getting called up as a top prospect in the Astros system a few years back, Tucker has continued to get great, and he's gotten better and better year by year. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Tucker elevate his numbers this season and come close to a 40-40 season. I think he is one of the few players who I actually think has a really, really good chance at achieving the feat. At number 4, I have Bobby Witt Jr. of the Kansas City Royals. Witt came up last year and took the league by storm, at least offensively, as in 150 games he had 20 home runs to go along with 30 stolen bases. And don't let those 20 home runs mislead you. He has some really good pop. He has hit close to 500-foot home runs before, and he's still only 22 years old. So on the base pass, I think he's going to continue to have the green light. He has really good speed and obviously really good power, and I think he's one of the best young stars in the game today. I cannot wait to watch Bobby Witt Jr. this year. I think he is a really good candidate to have a 40 home run, 40 stolen base season. At number 3, I have Fernando Tatis Jr. of the San Diego Padres. I may get some pushback with this one because Tatis is in fact suspended for the majority of April. But even in the past, with very limited time due to numerous injuries, Tatis has proven himself as one of the best 5-tool players in the game. Back in 2021, in his last full season, he played in 130 games in which he had 42 home runs and 25 stolen bases. And back in 2019, as a 20-year-old rookie, he played in 84 games where he had 22 home runs and 16 stolen bases. So my point with Tatis is that although he is going to miss nearly a month this season, I don't think that's going to slow him down. He's missed big chunks of time in the past and he has still put up some gaudy offensive numbers. So even with 25 to 30 less games than any other player in the league, I still think Fernando Tatis Jr. is so talented that he is a top 3 40-40 candidate in 2023. At number 2, I have Julio Rodriguez of the Seattle Mariners. Rodriguez is coming off a historic rookie season in which he won the American League Rookie of the Year, where in 132 games he had 28 home runs and 25 stolen bases. And the fact that Rodriguez just turned 22 years old this past December gives me every reason to believe he is going to have the green light on the base paths, and his power may even get better than last season. I mean, the guy's 22 years old, he's not even close to his prime yet, and I only think he's going to get better from here, so I don't think 40 home runs and 40 stolen bases is out of the question for a player of Rodriguez's caliber. Look out for Julio Rodriguez and the Seattle Mariners this year. Rodriguez is not only a 40-40 candidate, but he's also a legitimate AL MVP candidate. And finally, getting onto the number 1 spot, I have Ronald Acuna of the Atlanta Braves. Acuna is one of my favorite players in the league today, and I am all in on him in 2023. Last year, he was limited due to a knee injury as he only played in 119 games, but he was really good as he posted 15 home runs and 29 stolen bases. Now, I understand there may be some concerns with Acuna on the base paths because of the ACL injury he had a few years back, but I think he silenced all those critics with 29 stolen bases last year in those 115 games he played in. And at this point, we're only moving further and further away from that knee surgery, and Acuna is still only 25 years old, so he's heading into his prime right now, and I think he's primed for a huge bounce back season. After all, Acuna did put up 41 home runs and 37 stolen bases back in 2019 as a 21-year-old. And that 2019 season up to this point in his career has been Acuna's only full season, so really the only thing holding him back from a 40-40 season is his health. So I have Ronald Acuna as this year's top 40-40 candidate. Now real quick before we wrap the video up, I want to go over a few honorable mentions. We have a few names in Marcus Semien, Luis Robert, Bo Bichette, Cedric Mullins, and Corbin Carroll. But anyways, with that in mind, that's going to wrap today's video up. Let me know what you guys think down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.